So last class understanding about email triggering, right? Okay, so email integrations are what we are trying to understand. So we understood email triggering can be done in two ways. That is using smart shape, and the other one is like OOTB activity. What is the activity name?
Send simple email.
Send email
Sim
is what we're talking about. So this smart shape generally where you'll use maybe inside flow rule only, right? So if I wanted to send an email as part of work object ID, then only we'll go in this way. Okay, so that is somewhere here I'll be using smart shape. And in the smart shape, no doubt you have to pass some parameters. So you are seeing parameters like to address, to maybe subject, and maybe like message body. So something like attachments. So the major thing like from address and password are not asking at this smart shape level. So so the 4 or 5 parameters, whatever you are seeing it here, so these are being sent to one more activity. So every smart shape internally will have another activity. What is that?
Send simple email.
Send simple email. So this is one OOTB activity. All the parameters should reach here. Okay. And if we just closely understand this activity, still here it is not asking for from address. Here, even it is not asking for password. It is not even asking for SMTP host or port number. So from where all these will be passed. So for this, there will be separate thing called email account to be created. Am I correct? Email account to be maintained. So email account meaning this is one rule in PEGA or one kind of configuration to be done in PEGA. So what is happening here? So separately you have to create one email account. Maybe this is your Gmail related, what you personally maintain. So this has to be integrated to PEGA with something like email account. So there will be n number of email accounts. So if my requirement is to send from different from address, one email account will have 4 things, that is from address, password, SMTP host, and port number. Now, maybe my requirement here is to go for different from addresses. No doubt different email accounts is what you'll create. How do you generally maintain different email accounts? Same thing in PEG also, those many different email configurations to be done. Okay, and one smart shape can pick only one email account at a time. And that too, you are not even seeing like option asking for what email account to be passed. Getting my point? So in that scenario, what particular email account will be considered out of this 100? That depends upon what?
Class.
It depends upon the instance class. Okay, rule class and instance class will not be same every time, right? So maybe if this is my case type, ABC dash, ABC loans dash, work dash, loan processing, this will be my complete case type class. And the work object ID created now, what will be its instance class? Till work class agada. ABC loans dash work. This will be instance class. This is like rule class. So generally email accounts to be maintained with instance classes only. So you are supposed to maintain one instance class. During runtime, system will check what is its instance class and it will pick up its own email account from their from address, maybe password, and other 2 things will be picked up. Maybe if I wanted to go for different email account, maybe different from address is what I require. Then what I have to do?
Separate flow need to create. Separate case type.
Separate
Separate case flow rule need to create.
separate flow aina, within which if you are creating, if you're trying to create separate flow rule, will its instance class change? Will that instance class change? So this is my Amazon, where I'm having something like orders related, billing related, or sorry, billing related, and maybe like cancellation related. Okay. So here I'm having class name as ABC dash ABC e-commerce dash work. Okay, Amazon e-commerce and content. And here ABC dash ABC e-commerce dash work dash orders. Am I correct? Ikkada, so everything dash billing. Ikkada everything dash cancellation. So now customer, if he's placing an order, one mail has to be triggered. So for that, under this case type, okay, there will be one case type rule kada. So case type rule run cheste, you will be having one design somewhere I'm trying to use it. So this C-1 or O-1 will have instance class till here. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
And something like B-1, I'll be having different case type here. If I'm trying to run it, you'll see B-1 as the prefix for that. And even for this instance class will be the same. And something like C-1, cancellation-1, its instance class will be till work only. So it will be same. Now I'm trying to create one email account, something till work only. That is my instance class, where it is having something like emails as orders@amazon.com. From address undal kada. So it is having something like orders@amazon.com. Now, if I'm trying to run one case here, so now tell me what will be the from address in this case? From address ఏంటి? orders@amazon.com, right? Yes
Yes.
or no? So I'm trying to run this case. This is my whole case type class, and this is the instance class. So if I'm using smart shape, system has to send those parameters to send simple email. Send simple email has to get email account parameter from the respective thing based on the instance class. This is what it will be picked up. I'll get an email saying like orders@amazon.com. So here, if I'll be having different case type, am I correct? I'll
Yeah.
be smart shape. So if I'm smart shape used, what is the from address in this case now? Again, same.
Again,
Again,
same.
same. But that is not my requirement is. So in this case, I wanted to go for billing@amazon.com. Now tell me what you'll do. What you'll do?
Need to create separate
Separate
case.
case. What do you mean by case?
అంటే అమెజాన్ నుంచి సపరేట్ ఇప్పుడు చైల్డ్ కేస్ లా కాకుండా.
So finally, what are we understanding is for all these three, these are like case type related classes. Okay. For any of such case type related work object ID generated, it will be maintained at its parent related table. So that is the reason we are calling it as class group. So this is instance class for all the childs. Now email accounts are running based on the instance classes only, not on your rule classes. So if I create something like ABC dash work, maybe dash orders, something like orders@amazon.com. So maybe billing@amazon.com. So email accounts, even if you are creating, you will not get any error here, but those will not be picked up during execution. That is the problem. But if I wanted to go for different email accounts, so no doubt you are creating different configurations. And then what you'll do is you are making these classes as class groups. Am I correct? You have to change this whole class as class group, class group, class group. If you are maintaining this as the class group during runtime, its instance class also will be the same. In that scenario, it will pick up the exact email account and from address will be picked up. Understood, right? Clear?
Yes.
But this approach is not recommended at all. Just for the sake of unique email ID. So the existing behavior, that is all the work object data is maintained onto its parent table. Okay, this is the requirement. This is my thing, what I still wanted to continue. Just for the sake of different from addresses, if you're configuring it as a separate table, this requirement you might achieve, but the whole thing might be like disturbed, right? So which client is not accepting. So then what you are supposed to do is, so whatever the activity we directly see, that you are supposed to call it here. Okay, here don't go for smart shape. Instead, what I'll do is, so this is like assignment number 1, and this might be like assignment number 2. Instead of smart shape, directly go for utility shape. Am I correct? Go for utility shape. Directly go for send simple email. Whatever the activity generally will be executed in the background, call that activity directly here. And within this activity, it will be asking for parameters. No doubt from address, to address, no, to address. To address and subject and message, and it will ask something like email account, right? So email account, I have to pass maybe this as the one dynamically. No doubt I have to create different things, and email accounts might be with the different names also. If it is with the same instance class name during runtime, it will automatically pick up. I can create with a different name like ABC also, nothing wrong there. XYZ different name also, nothing wrong there. So this XYZ internally, it might be having something related to billing@amazon.com. This email account, if I can pass it as a parameter here. And similarly, here if I use one utility shape and call this send simple email activity to address, maybe everything I'll pass it and it will ask for email account, right? So the existing one, if I pass it as a parameter, will I not get email triggered? Come on, understood?
Yes.
Okay, so don't simply change these as like in class groups. These are actually belonging to class groups. So belonging to class group secret entity. So the instances to be maintained at parent level. Just for the sake of unique instance classes, don't simply change these to class groups. Instead, create no doubt 4 different email accounts. No doubt, you cannot stop this. 4 different email accounts. And the first one you pass it as a parameter by directly going for an activity. Let me show you that now. So open your respective flow rule. So last class, we even understood how to go with correspondences. Okay. And within correspondence template and how to go with correspondence fragment rule, these things, right? So now let's not go for that, or let me take one utility shape prior to that.
Yes.
So I'm trying to take one utility shape. So in this utility shape, let's try to call that activity directly. What is that activity about? Send.
Send simple email.
Send simple email. Send simple. Spelling mistake on 19.
Send.
Send simple email. Correct. Okay. So this is the activity what I directly wanted to call here. Okay. You might not be getting it in the below listings. Okay. So this must be of utility type, right, to get it. So it is like activity type only. So you simply call it manually. So if I use it here, it will ask for some parameters. So now tell me what parameter I have to go for. So to address. So maybe after you running the case, let me run this. So what we'll do is instead of we calling this activity directly, we'll try to create new activity. What the activity creation. So in that activity, we'll try to set some parameters and pass those parameters to this one. Okay. Send customized email. This is what we're trying to create new activity. So try to open from here. So for create and open. So properties set. Okay. So I wanted to set some parameters first of all. And below which call send simple email. This is like OOTP activity to be used now. And here it will be having n number of parameters, right? So to address. So what is the to address I have to pass? Param dot to. Okay, so this to address I have to initially set. Even the dot customer details page. Customer details page dot
Email.
email ID. Okay, what about subject param dot as it is evaluated? Subject. So if you're having any other property reference, you can simply pass it here. Or if you're having subjects defined at decision table, so you can call the decision table, right? PX evaluate decision table. So there it will check. So maybe if customer type is gold, maybe customer type is platinum. So get this as the email ID. So the same thing will be assigned as a parameter here. The same thing will be considered. For now, let me show you hard coded. Apart మీరు చేయగలుగుతారు. So thanks for registration. Okay, now, and next to the message. Param dot message. Param dot message kuda regarding Amazon order, whatever it is. Okay, ఇంకా car name. So car name is nothing but correspondence కదా, param dot car name. Okay, so earlier we created one correspondence rule. Internally, it is having correspondence fragments and even paragraphs and its sections included, property references. Okay, ఇంకా even with the templated email format. So let's simply call that core rule.
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ పెరమ్ డాట్ మెసేజ్ అన్నా కానీ బాడీ కదా సార్, దాని బదులు మామూలుగా కరెస్పాండెన్స్ ఒకటి వాడచ్చు.
మెసేజ్ అంటే బాడీ అని కాదు. సో టాప్ లో సబ్జెక్ట్ లాగా ఇస్తాం కదా రిగార్డింగ్ అనేది. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు కరెస్పాండెన్స్ అనేది ఇఫ్ ఐ
మెయిన్
వాంట్ కరెంట్ టెంప్లేటెడ్ ఫార్మాట్ అప్పుడు ఇది ఇస్తాం. నార్మల్ మెసేజ్ అంటే ఇది సరిపోతుంది. మేబీ మెసేజ్ ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ నాట్ గివింగ్ ఇట్ ఆల్సో నాట్ ఎ ప్రాబ్లం. సో సంథింగ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ లైక్ టేబుల్ ఫార్మ్స్, ఇమేజెస్ ఆర్ మేబీ సంథింగ్ ఇలా అంటే విత్ కార్ రూల్ ఇట్ ఇస్ పాసిబుల్, రైట్? Okay, both are similar to mail body. So if you're not giving this also, it will not impact you much. Okay, no? So this is our correspondence template name. So let's simply call it here. And you need not define in quotations also. Actually, this being a string type, it will accept it. Okay, welcome email. Inka mail account. This is very important. So param dot email account. Okay, param dot email account. Okay, so this param dot email account, first you have to create one email account. It need not be with our instance class. It can be something different also. Okay, and you should even understand what changes you have to do it at the Google settings level, right? So I'll share that video. So how what settings you have to make at Google level, how to generate app password, how to give it into our email configuration. Okay, now so for now email accounts create JSON. Let me check. Okay, so respect to email account should be success. So check for anything which is like success. Give success on user. So let me pass this. Let me use this now. Okay, now. So mandatory things is what I'm trying to pass, and same parameter should reach here. For that, simply mark this checkbox. Okay, mark this checkbox. Click on save. Now this activity, where I have to call
Utility.
in utility. Parameters could also do this. Submit this. Let me save it. Okay, let me save this. Now, after running the case, in screen number 1, I'll enter some email ID. Okay, after that, what happens is 2 emails has to be triggered to the person, one from this smart sheet and one from this send email. So in send email, mail will be triggered and the from address will be default at the rate pegasample.com. Antega, because there is no email account with this instance class for us so far. And here it doesn't look for about the instance class related email account. So since I gave my own thing parameter as like past, so it has to pick up that only and related things will be done there. Let's run and cross check. Understood, right, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my screen number 1. And here I'm giving something email account, something valid one I'll give it. Okay, so from address or to address is it. From address also will be the same as per the email account what I used here. So in this email account, So from address is okay. Let's cross check. So click on submit. So right side, you should see two email correspondence attached. Okay, so you can see two things right side. And the first one, if I open from address, okay, so you can see default at the rate pegasample.com from address is the subject is the and remaining the correspondence template and below fragment, everything is working fine. So this must be because of smart shape. Okay, now, and if I click on the second one, you can see from address same and to address is also same. And for your information, I just got an email also. Okay, so from address and to address both are same. Understood, right? So if I wanted to go for different from addresses, no doubt different email accounts is what you have to create. Okay, different email accounts is what you have to create. And don't simply change those two, is a class group, is a class group, is a class group. Instead, you try to do the same from activity. So if you don't know what is activity doing in the background, you cannot proceed further. This requirement looks simple in terms of smart shape, that is email smart shape. But background, what is happening, this logic, if you don't know, you cannot go for somewhere customization. Got it right? Clear up, Andhra? So about like send simple email plus smart shape. అర్థమైందా? Clear everyone?
ఈ స్మార్ట్ షిప్ మీద కూడా 2 అడ్రస్ ఇచ్చాము సార్ ఆల్రెడీ.
ఇది ఇచ్చాం కదా.
స్మార్ట్ షేప్ మీద 2 అడ్రస్ ఇచ్చాము ఆల్రెడీ.
మరి అదిగా పిక్ అవుతుంది. Let me explain. So this is my assignment number 1. So there you are entering your own first name, you are entering your own email ID. These two things are enough kada for now. And here you are using one activity. In activity step number 1, you are setting out two parameter, inka message subject and email account. And then in step number 2, so you are simply calling like send simple email. So send simple email, what is it doing? It is getting few things from here and something like email account. So I'm having something like default email account and something A-B-C related as some email account. So here I hard coded with ABC. So this email account will be considered. So from here, one email will be triggered. So two address వచ్చేసి something like shaker@gmail.com. From address వచ్చేసి chandra@gmail.com. అంతేనా?
Yeah.
And related correspondence rule. Fine. And after this email is triggered, after this is like smart shape. So in smart shape, I gave it as to address is equal to e property reference in a. So subject is what I hard coded, message is what I hard coded, car is what I'm using. And here I don't see any email account related. So again, what will happen? So after this send simple email activity will be executed, parameters from here it will reach. And what about email account? So if
Default.
call from a smart shape, it has to take up instance class, right? So there is nothing like instance class. Instance class వచ్చేసి ఇక్కడ NAB loans. So no matching instance class. It has to pick up the default one. So ఇక్కడ default at the rate PEGA sample. This is what you are seeing. So email will be triggered as usual for the to address whatever you entered, but from address will be different. So from our end, I can see two correspondences. To address everything same. Get doubt.
యాహ్! హ్మ్. అంటే ఇక్కడ స్మార్ట్ షేప్‌లో కూడా నిన్న డైనమిక్‌గా ఇచ్చాము అన్నది గుర్తులేదు.
ఇక్కడ పాస్ చేసాం.
ఓకే.
Okay, so this is what you have to know completely about like working with smart shapes. Now you should understand. So smart shapes related, are we seeing any drawback? So drawbacks here is I'm supposed to create those many email accounts. Am I correct? Okay, so I'm supposed to configure. Suppose if I want 4 from addresses, so 4 email accounts are to be configured separately. Avuna kada? Email account 1, 2, 3, 4. These are to be configured separately. And with this smart shape, so can you send for bulk persons? I'm talking about smart shape. I'm not talking about activity. So can you send email for bulk persons? Bulk persons in the sense, so if this is like credit card related thing, so I wanted to send an email to a person. So in that scenario, I have to notify all the remaining managers also, saying like one new employee joined our company. So bulk emails bulk emails, so cannot be properly handled here from smart shape level. If you try to go for an activity there, if you wanted to loop it and happily you can send it, not a problem. So this is what we'll try to work on it now. I'm talking about smart shape related drawbacks. So now let us understand working on one requirement, and after that you'll clearly understand. So now our requirement here is, so this is our current flow rule, right? So whenever we're registering a customer, so we are as usual sending an email to him saying like, thank you for registration. Now I wanted to send email for all other managers saying like, new employee joined with work object ID as so and so, and work object status as so and so. So this is like one email has to be triggered. This should be the subject, and from address to be like customized whatever I wanted from address also. And below as usual mail template should be there, normal, his photo and other things. So for this we can completely create one correspondence rule, right? Happily we can do that. In correspondence rule, can't you include this one, new employee joined so and so, his first name as the property, and his work object ID nothing but BY ID, his status and nothing but .py status work. Below can't include an image and video, everything is possible. But this has to be sent for all the managers. Managers meaning if this is our operators table, there might be 10 managers today, maybe 20 managers tomorrow. How many managers we are having, those many are to be passed here. That is what our task is. Now tell me how to do this task. How to do this task? After screen number one email has to be triggered for the correspondent persons, and maybe like another email will be triggered for 10 different managers. This is the task. ఎలా చేస్తారు?
ఆపరేటర్స్ నుంచి ఒక కొత్త పేజ్ మీద లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆపరేటర్స్ సెట్ చేసి దాంట్లో నుంచి రోల్తో ఫిల్టర్.
If you go to smart shape here, are you seeing any option to give multiple managers as the point here? So there is nothing like page list asking for one another. So you can straight away give any single property. Maybe if you wanted to add another person, you can do it. Maybe third, fourth. This is kind of static design. Maybe if I wanted to send it for 100 managers or 200, that depending upon the number of records. So manually going for the smart shape is not required. It's not possible, first of all. So no doubt you are supposed to go for activities only. So activity in the sense, what activity? We are having send simple email. This as one activity. Send email notification. This as another activity. Understood, right? Now, if I'm trying to go for send email notification, now let us talk about this send email notification. So from smart shape, it is not possible. Smart shape, internally it is calling one activity. If you're running this activity, it might be possible. So if I'm trying to make you understand about send email notification, so this is one OOTP activity from day one is what we understand. Send email, why it is not shut out? Send email notification, send customized email. So go to activity instances and search for that activity. Send email notification. ఏమైంది రావట్లేదు? So let's try to open from here. So you can see this activity, right? Let me open this activity. So this is what our send email notification will be. So in this particular send email notification, if I simply run, everything will be working perfect, meaning it will not even asks you to create anything separately. So is it asking for two address? So it is asking for to address, from address, message, and even password. Okay, and SMTP host, port number, everything related is what it's asking, right? So if I'm trying to go with this activity, no separate email account configuration is required. This is one very big advantage. Am I correct? So in this scenario, from address, whatever I pass it, now I'll pass something as orders at rate Amazon. Maybe in some other perspective, I'll use it like billing at rate Amazon. Maybe in some other scenario, I'll use it like shipping at rate Amazon. So I don't require creating different email accounts. Now I can pass it whatever I want. To address also, I can pass it whatever I want, meaning property reference. So if I can pass a property here, can't I pass an page list? So first page look to address will be one thing. So maybe second page different to address, third page different to address. Even I can pass one page list also. And here it is asking for subject, message, password, SMTP host, and port number. So the very big advantage of this send email notification is no extra configurations are required. So whatever the respect to Java code, so it is like already designed here. You can see it here. If I expand it, so you can see the respect to Java code. This design is robust. So it works for each and every mail server. Okay, suppose if I simply give it as, so if I simply give it as smtp.gmail.com, system will understand mail server as Google. And if I give it as outlook.com, system will understand it must be like a Microsoft related. Everything system will take care. No extra configurations are required. This is very big advantage. And major drawback with this send email notification is it anywhere asking for correspondence name? Just look and tell me. Is it anywhere asking for correspondence name? No, right? కనిపిస్తుంది ఎక్కడైనా?
No.
No.
Message.
Instead, it is asking for message name. Message name ante I can give some property, nothing much. So within one property, how much content you can maintain? Can't you maintain all the images or maybe anything more? No. So if it is like one or two line of mail body, so okay. So if it is to be like an email triggering, if it is to be like email triggered in this prospect too, no doubt you have to go for a correspondence rule creation, but that correspondence rule is not allowed here. That is the biggest drawback. So because of this email template not possible, so send email notification, this is like least widely used. This is not that majorly used in any project. Okay, so instead, if you are going for smart shift, then multiple from addresses or multiple to addresses is little challenge, right? It's like little challenge. So for that, what you'll do? For that, what you have to do? So depending upon the requirement, you have to proceed. Let me explain. So if it is like smart shape, internally send simple email. Then you have to create no doubt 4 email accounts in this examples wise. Okay, and you have to configure all those 4 no doubt in it. And you can even go for correspondence rule name. But smart shape will accept only one at a time. Okay, so you are supposed to go for 4 different flow rules, 4 different smart shapes, 4 different accounts completely separately. Instead, if you directly go for send simple email, background 4 accounts must be there, configurations must be there, core rule must be there, and multiple 2 addresses is also possible. Here only limited 2 address. ఇక్కడ multiple 2 address where you can go for a page list. Here, if you are going for send email notification, extra email accounts are not required. Extra configurations are not required. So multiple 2 addresses can be possible. Multiple from addresses can be possible. Very big advantage. And problem here is you cannot go for correspondence. So if I wanted to send bulk emails, I have to use this activity or this activity. And if I am supposed to use like from address, which will keep on changing, then those many email accounts you cannot maintain, right? Those many email accounts you cannot maintain. Straight away you'll pass whatever the from address you want. There you have to compromise not to go for correspondences. Okay, and maybe if I'm having multiple from addresses, maybe those many email accounts are to be created. Okay, and core rule must be separately created. So here in this send simple email, what we'll do is we'll try to pass this correspondence and we'll try to use so and so from address, and a to address wise, we can loop it from the pages perspective. So to send multiple this or this, and if you wanted to go for core, you have to go with this one. If not, you have to go with this one. This is like most easy for us. No extra configurations are required. So this is not that important for us for now. So let us make you understand how to work with send email notification, going for correspondence rule, looping and sending email for different managers. Understood, right? Clear up, brother? Clear with this discussion?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So now our requirement here is, okay, our requirement here is, I wanted to send email for 10 different persons. So after your screen number 1 is done, so in this smart shape, we are sending email for only one person. Now my requirement is to send email for multiple operators. So for that, anyway, at this level, we are having an activity. So in this activity, what are we doing here? What are we doing, Ante? So first thing, we have to go for OBJ browse, right? So we have to get all the list of managers. Am I correct?
Yes.
Go on checkout and add one step just above to that. This is straight away go for OBJ browse. And now from what table?
Data admin operator ID.
Data admin operator ID. And manager list can be the name. So now what we wanted is dot py user identifier. So this is what their operator ID will be. But ultimately we have to get their email IDs, right? So what is the property reference for email ID? Clipboard low operator email ID, where it will be maintained?
Addresses dot
Mhm.
py
So,
addresses dot.
so this is my clipboard. If I open my own email ID, so you'll see something like operator as the main page. Okay, so the complete, this is table. So the complete single record will be maintained on this page and some things like internally. So that is PY addresses. This is what we see, right? So this is one page group, as I told you, referencing to data dash addresses, within which you'll see PY addresses of email. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So this is one page internally. On click of this right side, you'll see .py email address, which is equal to something like my own email ID. Okay, maybe if I'm trying to run an activity and if I go for obj open onto temp, so what will happen? One temp page will be created. So temp page here is to get one record into this page, right? Meaning this complete information will be maintained onto this temp page and content will be somewhere internal. So the main page will hold important properties, single value properties. Internal data will be page list or page group or value list, right? Internally, it will be having PY addresses of same everything. Now, if I go for OBJ browse, so no doubt there will be ABC as one page list maintained. So within which PX results of one referencing to data admin operator, right? So this first page is nothing but record number 1. So on click of this, I'll be seeing its own single value properties. If we expanded, how generally you expand and see the internal content for a single page. Here also, this is one single page, you have to expand it. It will be like dot py addresses of email dot. So in OBJ browse, no doubt manager list will be the main page getting created and internally PX results. Internally PX results. And here I wanted to get the data inside that, right? So you have to give it as dot py addresses of email. As it is, you have to give it. So if you're not that confident, open clipboard and copy paste it from there. Py addresses of email dot py email address. This is what you have to define. So this is what you have to define. And do we require pulling out operator ID and email address for every operator of our table? No.
Role manage.
Pull out only our related, right? So let's go for PY access group. PY access group something contains or role as manager, whatever it is. Since we'll be having limited number of operators, let's go for NAB related. or organization related. So let's send email for everyone of related to our organization. So now what will happen? In clipboard, one main page will be created within which PX results, and every single page will be having all these three things. Next, what we have to do is we are supposed to send email for first person, second, third. Before this, let's cross check how many records we are seeing in table clipboard. Go for actions and click on run. Click on clipboard. Okay, and you'll see like managers list, right? You can see 13 records. Open this first one. Okay, and within which if you expand, you should see PY addresses, PY address of email dot PY email address. This will be the first person's email ID. Similarly, second person's email ID, third person's, fourth person's. These things you have to know. So based on this clipboard structure, you are supposed to send emails, right? So for that, what we have to do is, no doubt you are supposed to loop the content. Okay, I wanted to send email. As I told you, this activity can send email for only one person and that too for only one time. Now I am supposed to send it for 13 persons, meaning I have to loop this for 13 times. Okay, you have to go for looping. So looping where onto this page list, right? Within manager's list, how many pages we have, those many times it has to be looped. Okay, so you know this activity will be running it from case type. And then activity where will run from case types. So what is the primary page then?
PEGA.
Okay, maybe this is our activity. Activity is created somewhere in work class. And primary page of activity here will be PY work page. Suppose in step number 1, if I go for property set and set first name is equal to something like ABC. We are not defining any page. System has to set first name is equal to ABC on its primary page, that is PY page in this case. Step number 2, if I go for OBJ browse, maybe here you might not define any page, but internally you are giving it as manager list, right? So as I told you, OBJ browse has the capacity to create its own page. It will not maintain anything on its primary. So manager list is what separately getting created within which internally. Now what I wanted is in the step number 3, I have to loop this page list. So if I'm trying to loop this page list, system has to look for that page list from its primary page related class. But this page list is not maintained on your page, which is separated. So you have to go to pages and classes and try to use one foreign page now. This activity will be completely looking at this particular page only. But I wanted to use something different content onto step number 3, which is not available in your page. So I have to get permission, right? I have to go to pages and classes and say like, this is the page I want. This is its class. This is its internal page. This is its internal class. Then system will understand that picking up some foreign page now. Okay, we discussed these scenarios a number of times. So let me go for looping. Follow, Nara?
Yes.
So loop for each and every embedded page, and every internal embedded page is referencing to what class?
Data admin.
Data admin operator ID. That's it. And what is the page list? Manager list dot px
PX
result.
results.
This is what you have to know. And this cannot be understandable for our activity now. For that, you have to go to pages and classes. So this will be referencing to again
Data admin operator.
data admin operator ID. But this is not your main page, right? This is something internal one. So the main page
Yes, yes.
also should be defined.
Code PEGA list.
What is it? Code PEGA list. OBJ browse చేసినప్పుడు a number of times we discuss all these things. Okay, fine. So first, our activity should understand manager list as the main one, which is code PEGA list. That is what it will come to know. Within which it will be having PY results, PY mapping, and number of things, right? It should pick up only PX results. That also I have to define it here. Next. Okay, looping అయిపోయింది కదా. So you are supposed to add one child internally. Okay, now what you have to do is I wanted to simply call this activity. Okay, wanted to simply call this activity. So here itself will pass the parameters. So if you wanted to set the property and if you wanted to set the parameters and pass it as a parameter page, you can do it. or let's directly pass the parameters. So expand this. Just simply expand this. Okay, this send simple, I think we are having it in work dash class, and this activity. Okay, so this activity, that is step number 2.1, will be running inside that page list, right? Avuna kada? Getting my point?
Yes.
So 2.1 is running inside a page list. Okay, which is nothing but data admin operator related kada. So what you have to do? So you are supposed to call that activity using class name. Gurtunda? Work dash dot. Now you click on down arrow, it must be picked up. So now expand this. It should ask for all the parameters. Now tell me what should be the to address. To address ఏంటి?
Manage list.pxls dot.
To address is like manager list dot px results of 1 dot py email address. Let me copy it. Dot py email address. So this is like first operator's email ID. I have to copy this and maybe I have to paste it here. I have to paste it here. No doubt email will be triggered for first person, right? What about second person? What about third? So if I'm defining something like 1 here, what will happen? So for the first manager itself, maybe 13 times email will be triggered. So instead you have to go for email
Current.
current. So this will be your to address. This you have to do. So what about the subject? So subject wise. So if you wanted to give some property reference. Subject ఏం చేద్దామంటే okay, I'll give it as dot pyd. Okay, dot pyd is registered. Okay, so let me give this as the subject. And message, I need not define anything for now. I'll directly give the core name. So correspondence wise we created, right? Okay, so we have to maintain correspondence also in data admin operate ready class. So that you can try. So I'll simply call one existing correspondence rule. Where is it? So for now, what I'll do is I'll simply call the existing one. Okay, now whatever the correspondence rule we just created, you save as into this class that you'll do. Okay, and email account. So email account. So if you're not passing anything, system will take it as the default one. Since I have my own email account, I'll pass that. I'll pass it here. Okay, so just collapse this. And step number 3 and 4. Anyway, we commented it. We don't require for now. So I'm saving it. Okay. So now what I'll do is, so anyway, this activity is plugged in our utility. So let's run that.